What's up, everybody? This is the Black Oni, and welcome to my podcast. This is episode number 2. I hope you guys like this. If you do like this, I would truly appreciate it if you left a like button down below. And if you want to continue to listening and hearing more of the podcasting and other things that I will have on my channel, also hit that subscribe button. And there should be a little bell or something on the top right, or if I'm not mistaken, should be on the top right, either below the subscribe button or above the video, where you can get notifications when new videos come up. But like I said, on today's podcast, I want to talk about pretty much, you know, the fear of failing, the fear of thinking I'm not going to make it. And like I said, a lot of us, we struggle with this day to day. We we tend to give up so easily on things, no matter how hard they're hitting us. And we just stop. We just stop doing everything that we do instead of working on those weaknesses that made us fail and bettering ourselves. We tend to give up. And like I said, I was one of those guys growing up, with my younger self, where I would give up too easily. It was like, I would try hard my first time, and I'm thinking that everything is met with perfection, and just for it to blow up in my face, and it wasn't nothing or anything how it was supposed to be. And, like just the feeling of something like I failed, would just mess me up. And, I learned something from listening and watching other people, and, hearing other people's motivation and how they continue. You shouldn't stop doing something no matter how you feel about it. Like if that's a belief of yours, that's something that you want to do in life, continue to push forward with it. Make sure you have a plan. Try to figure out if you can do it independently. All of these things, are real, true concepts, of life. Like, I'll give you an example of two of my favorite people who did fail and well, one of them was on top of the world, and well, I guess both of them were. But for instance, my first one, and it's my top fave, is the group Linkin Park. We all know them as, a rock band group. Linkin Park, they music, at the time I was growing up, was phenomenon. Like I related to a majority of the songs and everything, and I could not believe the story that was told by them of them, being rejected by the music industry 5 times because they didn't sound original, or and all of that. And every single time they failed, they worked upon their perfection. What was it that they failed on? They built up on that. Those blocks that were once, the blocks that made them fail, ended up helping them so much into strengthening themselves to finally, walk up and do what they need to do. And, they're, like I said, they're famous today. Another person that I really liked and grew up with, and was one of my, childhood images, was like, I'm gonna say Stone Cold Steve Austin. And he failed. Like I said, he was in WCW. Like I said, I know a lot of people like, what? But yeah, he was a wrestler in WCW, and one of his main weaknesses was he was not, sellable. And what I mean by he wasn't sellable was, they couldn't sell him as a product. They couldn't sell him as merchandise. They said he was very generic. And when he ended up going to WWF, also formerly known as WWE now, he ended up changing his whole entire attitude. If you can go on YouTube, you can find old videos of Stone Cold where he looked like Hulk Hogan. He looked very generic. And, he ended up cutting all the hair off, ended up putting a vest on, denim blue jeans, leg brace. And, he became one of the biggest things, like I said, besides next to Rock and all that, he became one of the biggest, wrestling artists of all time. Like he's a Stone Cold rattlesnake. But I just thought it was crazy that, he didn't start off like that. He started off as something that was not sellable at all. They couldn't sell him. They couldn't use him as a product at all. And it ended up hurting him, and they had ended up letting him go. So he had to figure out, why was I let go? What could I have I done better to, change the way I was shown? And that's the same thing with Linkin Park. This rule applies to a lot of things. I truly believe that this rule applies to everyday life. When you fail at something and you have another chance at it, you might get multiple chances at it. Some people say you only got one shot. That's not always true. A lot of times doors open up for everyone and everybody. But the thing is, you have to figure out how these doors gonna open up for you. How are these things going to change? How are they going to pick up? How are they going to, be looked at? And like I tell people, like I have one friend, he wrote a book, couldn't get the book published. Originally, he could not get the book published. He ended up getting the book published through an Amazon publisher. And it's because he had to get his book critiqued multiple times. He had to figure out the weak points of his book. He had to figure out, is this book, what is it about this book that's not grabbing the attention of a person's, expansion, the expansion of a person's attention for no longer than 5 minutes. How can I make that longer? How can I push that to be, 8 times, 80 times much more? How can I keep somebody, locked into my book? And he got the answers because he figured out where his weak points was at. Like I tell people too, the best thing to have is people who can guide you, people who can, push you in those directions and, tell you this is what you can do. This is what you can do better. Understand how to take criticism. I think that's one of the main things in today's time is that we really do need to know how to take criticism a lot. And I see it everywhere I go these days where people are sensitive. They're sensitive about what's going on, what is said, what is coming out someone else's mouth, instead of how can I change this? How can I make this better? How can I make myself as a person who was once weak a little bit better, a little bit stronger? Like, how can I do that? And like I said, it is so simple just to stop and think about it and really look at ourselves. Like I said, this podcast right here is just really about, learning how to, not only accept the failure and build on it better, but being able to take criticism. It is okay for somebody to criticize you on your work. People are going to criticize you every single day on something. Some of it doesn't matter. Some things do. But, if it comes to your dream and your goals and stuff like that, you maybe want to figure out what it is that's not pushing you or not making you different than another writer or another music artist or another editor or another animator, whatever it might be. That's what you have to do. You have to figure that stuff out. And like I said, I thank you guys so much. So, if you stay tuned tomorrow, I will have um, a little link inside of my podcast that you actually have to pay attention to. It'll be the first prize for a $10 gift card to whatever you like. So, like I said, stay tuned to it. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for your time. And this is the Black Oni signing out in 3, 2, 1.